Hello, Alabama fans, and welcome to the BOL Recruiting Show. We're here today with a Breaking Commitment podcast. I'm BamaOnLine.com publisher Tim Watts, and with me is recruiting editor Andrew Bone. Seems like we're spending a lot of time together here, Andrew. It's like fate. That's like the FaceTime we do on our back porch when we talk about our favorite reality shows. That's not true. A commitment. Owen Cabell, a commitment, a wide receiver is on the board. We have a wide receiver in this class, and it's an interesting one. We've talked about other guys like Zay Hall. Guys went to camp, earned an offer, FaceTime. But Owen Cabell from Nashville, Tennessee commits today.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the first wide receiver commit. We've got some predictions in for a few other wide receivers we'll talk about at the end. But Owen is a kid that came to Tuscaloosa on June the 2nd. It was actually the Monday after Alabama's first high school camp came in town, and there was a bunch of kids that were on campus that day. Worked out for the coaching staff, earned an offer after camp. 6'3", close to 210 pounds. I think he ran in a sub 4.5 40. So really impressed the staff. I mean, I don't think they knew a ton about him, so they were able to get him down to work out for them, and he really impressed. Had a great junior season with just over 950 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns. So they knew he had a lot of production, but just wanted to see him in person. And after they did, they felt comfortable go ahead and extend him that offer, and came back for the official this last weekend. And I think he's ready to jump on board.
Look, he had some pretty good offers. I mean, his final three were Vanderbilt and Illinois. And hey, Illinois, Alabama, and Illinois are having some head-to-head battles right now. Oddly enough, I don't recall that at any time in our career that they went to Illinois head-to-head with Illinois as much.
That's not a bad thing. I know
No,
everybody will look at it as like, oh, it's Illinois. Well, you know what? They played pretty well, and
Bielema knows how to
yeah.
evaluate.
So I wouldn't shoot that down quite easily.
And we were told Illinois was the runner-up in this, and also Alabama last week flipped Javari Barnett, the running back who played 3 games, got high hopes for him. But this is a guy that, again, Shep, you either trust your coaches when it comes to evaluations or you don't. Shep did a lot of legwork here. And again, you look at him, we talked about this with Zay Hall on Friday when he committed. This is a guy they stared face to face, eyeball to eyeball. They watched him run, they watched him cut, they watched him run routes. They put the 40 time on him and put the tape on him, and he checked all of those boxes. And as we saw last year, now in hindsight, Latzir Brooks wasn't much of a sleeper. But at the time, he was a 3-star guy from New Jersey. I'm not saying he's Latzir Brooks. I'm saying they kind of mixed and matched a 5-star at the time, Caleb Cunningham, with the 3-star guy. They're kind of looking for that same mixture here because, like you said, there's a couple of other guys committing in the next few weeks. But Owen did enough for them to check the boxes to get this offer.
Yeah, he certainly did. And we talked about how this was going to be a small wide receiver class. Even though Alabama only signed 2 wide receivers this year, we felt like the number was going to be 2, maybe 3, if they could get the right guys. And also, as you mentioned, make the numbers work. And I think we've made a prediction already for Cedarian Morgan, 5-star wide receiver to Alabama, who's going to be announcing his decision on July the 2nd. So just here in a few days, Brian Williams Jr. announcing his decision on July the 1st. We've made a prediction for him to Alabama. So getting Owen Cabell, just before those 2 guys commit, I mean, that would be make their decisions. I think that would be a great wide receiver class, and all of them have size. I mean, Owen Cabell, 6'3", Brian Williams Jr., 6'4", Cedarian Morgan, 6'5". Those are
Literally, bum, bum, bum.
Remember all those years everybody talked about, why do we keep recruiting all these 6'1" wide receivers? We got to get bigger guys. We can't. I'm sick of these guys that are the size of Amari Cooper and Devontae Smith and Calvin Ridley and Jalen Waddle. These guys are too small to make any sort of impact at Alabama. We got to get bigger now. Well, your wish came true. They're starting to get bigger wide receivers, and we'll see how these guys turn out. See if they're they're as good as those small 6'1" wide receivers that played at Alabama through the years.
And the thing about this room is Jeremy Bernard is the only one out, and we're aware of the portal and all that stuff. Jeremy Bernard's the only one out of eligibility next year. Isaiah Horton has another year. Not saying everybody's coming back. So you don't have that room's going to look pretty good, especially when you're looking at a guy like Derek Meadows who will be in his second year, like Zero Brooks in his second year, plus everybody on campus. And I think it's going to be kind of hard, if Alabama can land Sedarian Morgan to keep him off the field. So if you have a couple guys, takes a little bit to develop, it's not the worst thing in the world because you're trying to develop competition, depth, and some people rise faster later than other ones.
And I think some of these guys are okay with that. Owen Cabell didn't have 50 scholarship offers. I think that's a guy that is coming in knowing that this is Alabama. These are you've got a lot of elite players, but he also has the confidence to come in. He could have gone to Vanderbilt. He could have taken the easy route and gone to Illinois, where he probably felt like he could see the field right away. But coming in, knowing he wants to get developed, compete against the best players in the country every single day, I think that says a lot more about some of these lower ranked kids deciding to come in rather than taking an offer, going somewhere else, maybe even a higher NIL deal somewhere else. They want to come to Alabama and get developed.
Yeah, and I also think it just speaks to Alabama trying to keep a balance. And like you said, you're now going through, you've got X amount of dollars to spend to keep everybody happy. You also, the biggest thing is the locker room. That's really big to Alabama. We've seen them walk away from some pretty highly ranked guys because they didn't feel like it was a fit. I think it's the old bad apple can spoil the bunch. But the one thing we know about Owen, he's a hard worker. Everybody makes jokes when there's a white skilled player involved, and it is pretty funny on the BamaOnLine.com roundtable. But he is that guy. He's going to work hard. He's going to get after you. But what they're not talking about is how athletic he is. He's a big guy. Heck, our CEO has seen him play basketball. Shannon Terry was telling me about him. He's got good size. He's athletic. He's got speed. So again, we talked about this with Zay Hall. They've got traits. And if you've got traits, you got a chance because college coaching is, that next level to step up and be somebody. And again, if you put together another class of wide receivers, you get some low key guys and some guys you expect to play early, you're really going to have a lot of depth in that room.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that getting Owen Cabell, great start to the week for Alabama. This entire class, so far, the offensive side of the ball, getting a guy like Jet Tamala to come in, after Keelan Russell, you got a lot of guys that are still confident, that want to come in, that want to compete. Great running back room so far. Tight end room so far with Max Sutter. Still working. Maybe get one more offensive lineman, but I think that with Alabama, they've got to be really ecstatic with what they've got and what's still to come.
Yeah, and we went from a class we thought would be relatively small to it looks like it's going to creep up over 20. It's a little bit of an adjustment. I think you look more like what you saw last year. Was that 21 signees? You want to keep room money for the portal. You want to keep all that kind of stuff. USC has an absurdly large class. They're all in 2026 and doing a really good job. But for most schools, I think you're looking in that 20 range. Alabama's going to sneak in there. And again, they're going to take check boxes, not just on the field, but off the field. And again, looking ahead, you've got Owen in the books. He's committed. You have Brian Williams, Florida wide receiver, as you said, 6'4", making the decision on the first. And on the second, Sedarian Morgan, who everybody's going to be watching. Obviously, a big name guy. We've got them all predicted to Alabama. So quite a run here. I mean, Andrew, what we're seeing is a little 5-star, a little 3-star, a little 5-star, a little 3-star. So, I mean, we're seeing like an alternating thing here. But the one thing I think we both can agree on is this really is looking like a fantastic class. If they close on who we think they will, it's going to be another really good group. And I thought last year's was A+ across the board, basically.
Yeah, and obviously there's still some big names that are out there, but as you mentioned, I mean, it's a 3-star, then a 5-star, a 3-star, then a 5-star. We saw Rahel Kelly, a 3-star from Cincinnati commit to Alabama a couple of weeks ago, and now this weekend we're going to see Jaira Edwards, 5-star safety out of Baltimore, announce his college commitment. So is Alabama going to be able to add that one to the mix as well? Another guy that we have predicted to the Crimson Tide. So you got to give a lot of credit to this coaching staff because nobody really believed in them. They didn't believe in them last year that they were going to be able to have a good class because they'd only been on campus for a few months. They were able to do that. Of course, they all commit. Everybody says, oh, they're all going to flip by signing day, especially all those California guys because there ain't no way 7 of them are going to sign with Alabama.
7.
All 7 of them signed with Alabama. And then this year, well, Alabama, reality is going to come back and hit them in the face because they didn't win 10 games. They didn't win a national championship. DeBoer's not going to be, around much longer because he's not going to be able to recruit this cycle because of this not being successful last year. Well, they're still proving a lot of people wrong right now. And, you're kind of hoping that they're going to prove a lot of people wrong this upcoming season as well with the guys that they were able to keep on their roster because that was probably the most important recruiting job, this past offseason. But they're doing a pretty damn good job on the recruiting front as well.
Yeah, they incorporate everybody. I mean, we talk about the current players on the roster. I don't know if I ever see an edit or a photo without Justin Hill with the defensive player or Ryan Williams with everybody. Ryan is the most accessible superstar because that's what he is that I've ever really seen. He never stops the energy. He seeks out a video to do, and no cost to his game. So obviously, a great job. We've said this all along. This staff knows how to host a party. It knows how to host a visitor. Courtney Morgan does a great job of spearheading this. She worked all the way down. You go through each recruiter. Brian Ellis got a bit. We don't talk about Brian Ellis much. He got one of the best recruits in this class in Max Sutter, who I think is a top 3 tight end nationally overall. 6'6", another tall and 6'6" guy is probably going to play in that 240-pound range and going to have a little range when he blocks. So a willing blocker. Andrew Bone, any chance I see you later in the week? Say no.
Probably so. I'm sure we'll see each other maybe a few more times. But yeah, even though it's a vacation week for a lot of people, and people are going to be on the beach at the lake. We're going to be on BOL, on the BL YouTube show, on the BOL Roundtable, BamaOnLine.com. So we hope to see a lot of you guys. Even hey, guess what? Pull up your phone. We're on the roundtable. Come talk to us. Find out what's going on, and it's going to be a good week for the Crimson Tide.
Andrew Bone's right. We're headed to the roundtable now. I hope everybody has a good rest of their week, and roll Tide.